Okay, I'm showing 7.
Me too. Okay. I now call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. For the audience tonight, I am the chair and serve as the presiding officer for tonight's meeting. Before we move forward, I would like to announce that in response to executive orders issued by Governor Newsom, the city is conducting a teleconferenced public meeting utilizing Zoom video communications. This allows the city to continue to conduct essential business and comply with public health administration recommendations to protect the public and city employees, practice social distancing, and limit exposure by not allowing in-person public meeting. To ensure that the public will be able to participate, public comments can be submitted as live comments during Zoom meeting and via email at publiccomment@cityofglendora.org. Madam Clerk, will you please conduct the roll call?
Thank you, Chair. At this time, I will conduct an oral roll call and request that each commissioner respond with present when their name is called. Commissioner Chavez? Is he here?
He was. That could be him on the iPhone.
I thought I saw him.
So did I. We'll come back. Commissioner Gerber? Is he here too, or did we lose him too?
Was.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Commissioner Kuyumjian,
Present.
Vice Chair Louis Porcher,
Present.
and Chair Burrell.
Present.
And
Okay.
then ask the person on the iPhone.
The one that's labeled iPhone is that one of our commissioners?
Yes, it is. It's me.
Okay. Yay.
Is that Chavez?
Can you, for my laptop, I don't know what's going on. So I just got on the phone.
Okay, no problem. We'll change the name right now.
And then can you allow me to start my video?
Yes. Here we go.
Thank you.
Commissioner iPhone.
Don't you love technology?
That was James Gerber.
Yes. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, now we're good. And then Chavez, I believe I saw you come in. Commissioner Chavez, are you present?
He just came in.
It says
Oh, his
connect.
mic isn't working. Okay, so we do see that he's present. So all commissioners are present. Thank you.
Commissioner Kuyumjian, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. All right. When ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to the agenda? So there's not. We will now move on to the public comment period. I will now open the public comment period. I invite members of the public to address the Community Services Commission on items listed on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once, both on and off agenda items. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. Please address your comments to me, the presiding officer. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes. If you would like to request to speak, select the raise hand icon on Zoom before the close of the public comment period. You will then be called on when your turn is up to speak. Have any public comments been received?
At this moment, we have received none, no emails, and no one in the meeting that would like to speak. But real quick, Commissioner Chavez, if you can connect to your audio, because right now you can't speak in the meeting, so we're kind of showing you as absent until you connect with your system.
He's connected the second time.
So let's see if we can get him up and. Sorry, everybody.
Oh.
Still no audio.
There he goes.
Here we go.
Ask him to turn his audio on.
Can you turn your audio on real quick, Commissioner Chavez?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Okay, perfect. We're good.
Yeah.
And he's
So-
asking if he's in a spot. He can turn his camera on.
And then can you turn your camera on real quick so we can make sure it's working too?
Oh, yeah.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So no public comments. Thank you.
Okay. We've received no correspondence via the public comment email or request to speak via Zoom meeting at this. Oh, wait, no, you said
That was
part.
me. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So now I close the public comment period.
Yes.
I'd like to invite each individual commissioner to provide a statement or report if they have any. Let's start with Commissioner Chavez.
No, actually, so I'm still kind of a little new at this whole, at this, right? But I was actually on, the call for the rec, the recreation department here, and they had some questions in regards to the Fink Binder project. I don't think they knew what dates, when that project was going to start. And they had, were mentioning something like they really wanted to know. A lot of coaches, a lot of individuals were asking, hey, when is that going to start? What's going to happen? We're really going to need the field. And I didn't respond. I was just listening. But I says, okay, I think they're going to need some information. So I just wanted to put that out there because I think they will need one of us to kind of let them know what's going on. So
Are you asking regarding the storm drain, Fink Binder Park storm drain? Is that what they were asking about? Yeah, they just received money for the design phase. We're still probably 2 to 3 years away. And then we will keep them up to date as it's coming closer. Yes, it will tie up the entire softball complex there at Fink Binder Park. And probably for a year to a year and a half. They'll be putting in new storm drain underneath the grass and then fixing up the grass after they're done. So we can report that to them next month.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to let you guys know because they were, they made it a point and they were like, oh, I don't know. And so I was like, okay, maybe we could, I know, John, you'd be the one that I just wanted to mention it. So, yep. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerber. Anything to report?
Yes. Hi. Okay. I went today to the teen center. They have every Thursday particular meetings, or not necessarily meeting, but events for the youth. Today they were doing a Friendsgiving, which there was probably about 15 kids from younger ages all the way up to high school ages. They provided them food, and they were also going to be doing an art project. It was, although small in size right now, but due to COVID, I thought it was actually much bigger than the last one I attended. Looked like all the kids were having a really good time. Spoke with a couple of the counselors there. Very upbeat, very looking much forward to participating with the kids. All wished that there might have been a greater crowd, and would love to find ways to increase the size of the population down there. And I plan on going, not next Thursday, obviously for Thanksgiving, but they have a monthly end of month meeting with about 10 to 12 volunteers that actually help with specific events there. And I really want to kind of see what the age groups are, how many people are part of it, what their plans are. Because I think that, again, this is an area that is so underdeveloped that we need to somehow begin the process of trying to increase the awareness and the knowledge of what we have down there. I have a few ideas that at some point I'd love to share with Annie and you, John, like maybe doing an open house for the teen center where we get out flyers, posters to all the schools. You could do it at the beginning of the year. I mean, the fact that they're open till 7, 8 o'clock at night, kids have the ability to play, they have the ability to do homework, they have all kinds of activities. And I just don't think parents are truly aware of the abilities and the knowledge of what's there, but yet they'll send their kids to daycare after school and pay when the kids can get a ride down to the teen center for 50 cents, be amongst their peers and still get great guidance and tutelage. And I think it's a matter of brainstorming activities and ideas of how we bring the community down there and show them show the parents what it's about, show them how the kids interact and what kind of opportunities are there. So one of these days, I plan on sitting with Annie. I think you're on the meeting tonight yourself, and maybe John, and maybe we can brainstorm some ideas of how we as a commission can help spread the word and get people to understand what's down at the teen center and the opportunity. Looking forward to tomorrow night, the Christmas stroll, and was very excited to see all the different events from Halloween, the Halloween event, the veterans lunch that we all attended, which was a great honor to be a part of on Veterans Day, or actually on the Tuesday before Veterans Day at the LaFetra Center. They put on a very good little presentation. The food was great from Spaghetti Eddie's. And I know that there's been several other events. You guys have been very busy. So it's just been a great time of year to be a part of the city and part of the commission and be a part of all the events that are going on. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Kuyumjian.
Yes. Hi, good evening. Report from the Trails Council. The Glendora Trails Day was on November 6th, and it was a great turnout. About 80 people or so came out. Great event there. And then the fall, and I just want to announce some of the hikes that have already been scheduled. So the fall hikes, there are still for the remainder of the year. October 30th is at Little Dalton Canyon and Mystic Canyon Trail. And then on November 27th is Colby Dalton Trails. And then the winter and spring hikes are announced as well. January 29th at Big Dalton, February 26th at South Hills Wilderness Area, March 26th at Little Dalton Canyon, April 30th at Colby and then Dalton Trail, and May 28th at Big Dalton Canyon Trails. And they all start at 8 a.m. So if you could, just get the word out, if you could attend, that would be great. And that's it from the Trails Council. And also I'd like to echo David's comments. Great events. The veterans event was fantastic. Great to see everybody there, honoring the veterans, and great job to all the staff that put it together. Thank you very much, and looking forward to tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Louis Porche.
Thank you. I am really glad to be here this evening. I again want to also echo the comments that have already been shared about the previous events that have happened. My family and I participated in the Halloween Carnival, which was out of this world. It was crowded, but it was worth it. I do understand from the report that approximately 3,000 attended, which is incredible. And we were very glad to be there. We got there at the tail end of the event, and it was still packed. So I can only imagine what the beginning and the midday looked like, but kudos to the team that put that together. I think that the tents looked wonderful. I think that there were a lot of different activities for the kids to join in. My kids, I let them have their day, and they just really enjoyed it. So they're looking forward to any future of a similar activity. So great job on that. The Veterans Luncheon was so sweet, well planned. Every detail from top to bottom was well thought out. I had no idea, maybe I should have known this, that the state representatives and their representatives were going to be there. So that was an incredible surprise and a shock. And I know that it was a treat for the veterans that were there. My uncle, who's similar, or who's like a father to me, was one of the honored that day. And he wasn't able to attend. But when I collected the certificates, I took them to him, and he was in tears. And that was a priceless moment. So I want to just say thank you so much for the invitation on that. The food was great. Just like David said, it was so nice to see the commissioners and the council members in person, along with the mayor. That's one of those rare, wonderful opportunities for us all to be together in person. So great job on that. The boutique looked very nice. Didn't get over there because we were on the soccer field cheering on our team who won first place. So yay, teams. And sports has been going wonderfully as a participant. So great job, Annie and the crew, for that. Pumpkin patch, I don't know if we talked about that already, but that was incredible. Again, we enjoyed the fresh churned butter, and I did get an invitation from Annie to learn how to make it without splattering it, right, Annie? Without the splatter effect. And as far as the La Fetra Center, meetings will be resuming in January, so Debbie did inform me of that. So we haven't had any meetings just yet, but I will be sure to update the group once we do. And then I think that's it. I do believe what you said, David Gerber, about the Teen Center is true. It's such an amazing resource. And I think the time that families really get to see the beauty of it is during the seasons like basketball, when they're going there frequently. So I would highly recommend pairing that timing with promoting of the center, and even possibly considering some scheduled shuttles that go to the schools, because I don't know that students think, or parents think or know, oh, I can just put them on the bus for whatever the cost is. If we have dedicated shuttles that get them there, I think that it would be comforting for parents, and it also ensure you have a set cohort of students that participate, and maybe start by limiting it to the first 30 or something like that per school, middle school or something. So just a thought, but I wanted to say kudos to everyone, and thank you for inviting my comments.
Thank you. I think we do have shuttles that go from the junior highs and the high school after school, but I'm not sure on the quantity that they take, but they do go there.
Yeah, they do. It's open to anybody and everybody. So it's something that, again, I don't think I would say 75% of the people in the city of Glendora, if not more, don't realize that those are available to their kids.
Yes, the ridership used to be incredibly high. Stephen Mateer is on the call with our transportation department, to where we were having to go back to schools twice. So pre-COVID, our numbers were outrageously high, from both Goddard, Sandburg, then the high school, and then we pick up at Charter Oak and Royal Oak. So pre-COVID, our numbers were very, very high. We have not recovered from COVID. I think a lot of parents have gotten used to letting their kids stay home. And that's become the trend. Our ridership for the shuttles, our numbers are very small this year. But they did pick up, and Stephen worked with the school district. And we started on the first day of school this year and accommodate their early outs. And so we are providing that. The school district was supposed to send out literature on that, because that's really, they have the students, and there are signs stating where the pickup is at all the middle schools and the schools.
Thank you, Annie. Okay, I have the homeless liaison. Most everything I have, it's very small print, so you have to forgive me, I don't have my glasses. Let's see, from Debbie, an update on homeless stuff. It's most of it's still in that by monthly report that we get, but some important call outs regarding that, that there was at the end of October, they worked with the police department and Union Station to host like an outreach event where they went to the encampments, passed out hygiene kits, tap cards, made those sort of contacts, and then made note of which places that needed to be cleaned up. That was done, and the places they cleaned up are still free of debris, so that's nice for, I think we're now a month later. And then there's a homeless task force where all of the different agencies throughout the county and the grant funding groups, it's a lot of acronyms, and I don't want to mess any of them up, but a lot of these different agencies all get together and they kind of share ideas, and I think they've had their third meeting so far, or maybe fifth, if I'm reading this right. But those are all like a very helpful way to share ideas, make sure everyone's on the same page, rowing the boat in the same direction. There's a little bit of uncertainty because 2 of the grants expire at the end of this year. And so there's no current plan or information about what's going to happen in 2022. So as we get towards the end of the year, the future of kind of how far our outreach can be remains a little uncertain. There will be some volunteer opportunities at the beginning of the year when they do the LASHA account, where for our new commissioners, that's where the I'm probably going to get the acronym wrong again, but I think it's the Los Angeles Housing LAHSA or Homeless Services Authority, I think. Anyway, they do, they canvass the entire city in one night and take a person by person count of the homeless. So they kind of have a number and capturing that point in time. And so that will take place this year. It's scheduled for January 25th. And the city of Glendora is going to be the deployment site for the event. And so there will be more information coming out and going to residents about how they can volunteer if they want to and how to sign up and how that will actually work. So that's all I have to update everyone on homeless services this month. So at this time, I'd like to invite Community Services Director John and Gary to provide a statement.
No statement at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. There are no special items, and we'll move to the consent calendar. Can I request a motion to approve the consent calendar items number 2 through 4 as presented?
I motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was first?
It sounded like Eddie.
It was Kuyumjian?
I think
believe
so.
first. Okay.
Whomever.
So I have a motion made by Louis Porcher and seconded by Commissioner Kuyumjian to approve consent calendar items 2 through 4 as presented. I will now do roll call. Commissioner Chavez? Did we lose him?
No, he's
Here, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, so what's your vote?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerber?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuyumjian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Louis Porcher?
Yes.
And Chair Burrell?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Chair Burrell, if I could, we still do with the Ed Kirkpatrick and Dunham and the Ruth Harper. We still have some from this year that we need to give out. We will be making contact with you. We have 2 that are at the LaFetra Center. One is on a Monday. It's the singing program that we will surprise her in front of the class to give. You guys will surprise her, whoever can make it. And then we do have the Kirkpatrick Award. It's one of our youth basketball coaches that on January 8th at his first game, where we'll let you know, you guys can give that award out to him in front of his team and the people that are in attendance. So we still do have those that we need to get out to them. And we will make those, we'll send you guys the invitations so we can make sure that we can get as many of you out there to give out those awards.
Hey, thank you. That's exciting. Finally handing those out. There are no commissioner agenda items and there is no unfinished business as well. So now I would like to invite Recreation Superintendent Annie Warner to report on the Recreation, Teen, and Youth Sports update.
Great, welcome, thank you. I believe there's a PowerPoint, Lorena.
It's just tell me when to go.
Go for it. All right, so as many of you guys discussed, we had a very successful October with our Pumpkin Festival, Halloween Movie in the Park, and Halloween Carnival. The Pumpkin Festival was held at Centennial Heritage Park in conjunction with the Glendora Preservation Foundation. We had pony rides, a petting zoo, leathercraft, butter making. A fun little thing that happened was a Glendora resident reached out to us who was in the early must have been 64 Olympics, and he was in the archery, Mr. Lunday, and he thought that we could use some assistance in the archery. He was not, a couple years ago, didn't think they were doing the correct, you know, I don't know, skill set. So he came out and volunteered the entire day. Our staff learned a lot. I had him paired with our Camp Kahila staff who does archery at Camp Kahila. He's looking forward to coming up and volunteering over the summer and teaching the kids. And it was just nice to see somebody come out who had the opportunity to share his gifts and talents at this event. So it was very well attended. And I know a lot of people were happy to get back out there for that event. Next up, we had our Halloween movie in the park. We partner with the Rotary Club. They showed Addams Family. Again, a great turnout. It was nice the movie could start earlier because it gets darker earlier. So that was also a fun event. And then we rounded it off with the Halloween Carnival. And as Brittany said, it was packed. We are looking next year to also do it the day or the weekend before Halloween. So it would be on that Saturday. We'll try it again to see if that's a better, you know, date. Historically, we've always done it on October 31st. We'll also do pre-sale tickets. The lines for people to buy wristbands were really long. So we'll do some pre-sale tickets and hope that would alleviate ticket lines and add attractions. We had the Ferris wheel, the game boost, but with that many people, the lines were long. And so that was the only kind of negative drawback we heard. But other than that, I think people, like Brittany said, were just happy to be out of the house and kids can run around. So those 3 events were a success. Our staff is now gearing up. You can go to the next slide, Lorena. Oh, they're out of order. That's okay. The Teen Center, they just in October went on a Not Scary Farm trip. It was a success. They took 35 teens. And they are looking forward to, on Martin Luther King Day, going to Magic Mountain all day. So that will be their next trip. The Glendora Teen Board, which is Glendora Teens Helping Others, is continuing to meet on Thursdays at 3:30. And many of them were integral in helping out with the Pumpkin Festival and the Halloween Carnival. I would say at least 15 of them to 20 Glendora teens came out to volunteer. It's great for them. They get Avid credit, so we can sign their papers. And I told David today, sometimes teen volunteers are a lot of work, and they were great. They followed directions, were really helpful, and provided a lot of service for those 2 events. You can go to the next slide. Our holiday stroll, the staff is gearing up for that, which is tomorrow evening. As you know, the BID, or the Business Improvement District, really puts on that event, but the city is responsible for the Santa and the tree lighting. We've coordinated the fire truck. And so that should be a great event tomorrow. And then our city staff will also be helping out with the Saturdays leading up to December or to Christmas. There's 3 Saturdays that the village puts on some holiday activities, and our city staff will be assisting on those 3 Saturdays as well. Next slide. The gingerbread decorating party will be partnering with the Glendora Public Library, and it's going to be on Saturday, December 4th from 9 to 10:30. It's a free event where participants will be able to make a gingerbread house. Normally it's edible. This year, due to COVID restrictions, they are building a gingerbread house with just fun decorations. So they'll take it home and be able to, you know, put it on the table. Glenkirk Church will provide a free pancake breakfast. And it's always a good turnout. It is going to be held outside. So if it is raining, they will have to cancel it. But other than that, it's free and there's no registration. Next slide. The annual holiday home decorating contest is going to be back. Deadline to enter is December 13th, and you guys, our very own commissioners, will be judging on the night of December 15th. So get ready. Next slide. The Christmas parade. The Christmas parade is run by the Christmas Parade Committee. A lot of people think the city puts it on, but it is not. There is a Christmas Parade Committee, but we do field a lot of phone calls. So we do advertise for it in our book, but we just wanted to let you know that that is taking place on December 11th at 9 a.m. Next slide. All right, for youth sports. So youth soccer had approximately 1,200 players this season, and they are wrapping up their season this Saturday with their all-star games at Louis Pompey Sports Park. Tartan football is also wrapping up their season. Their last home game at Pompey is going to be this Sunday, November 21st. This year they joined a new league. It was the AAU. However, next year they have decided they will be going back to Junior All-American football. This year they had 5 teams. All of them made the playoffs. They had a 6 U flags, 8U, 10U, 12U, and 14U. And next year they're looking forward to bringing back the cheer component of that league. National American Pony and Lassie have also are wrapping up their fall ball seasons. And Glendora Youth Basketball, which is the only league run completely by the city of Glendora, closed its registration on Friday, November 5th. We have 66 teams right now. We will be adding 2 more teams in the girls Atlantic division. There is enough to add 2 new teams. So we'll approximately have 68 teams this season. That is considerably down from previous years, but that is okay due to the COVID restrictions and shortage of jerseys and things. We're okay with 68 teams. That's still a pretty good sized league. Clinics and drafts are going to begin November 29th. And games are going to begin January 8th, and the season runs through March 5th. Turf renovations, all of our natural grass fields at Finkbeiner and Louis Pompey Sports Park will be closing a little bit before, or some on December 1st for yearly renovations, all of December and all of January, in preparation for Lassie League and American and National, who use Finkbeiner as well. That's the time for our Parks Department to renovate those fields. We're getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of people. I spoke with a gentleman today who was quite upset about that, and that we don't have any other field options for them. They want to continue playing soccer year round. And I told him, you know, it is unfortunate, but at some point we have to maintain the fields we have. And that has been historically the 2 months that we closed them down. Is there a next slide? Does anyone have any questions? Brittany.
Oh, I saw David unmute. David, you want to go first?
No, you go ahead, Brittany. I'll follow you.
All right. I'm a numbers nerd, and you mentioned 1,200 for soccer. So maybe in the future, can you email me the numbers from football and the other sports? I'm just curious to see. You don't have to say now, not a pop quiz, but when you get around to it.
Well, I think for basketball, we normally have like 780. That's usually a norm. Like right now, we're in the 560s for that. From what I remember from little leagues, they're normally, American was getting pretty big. I want to say they were like in the 450s, correct, David?
That is correct. When I left, we were somewhere around 450, and National was somewhere around 325 to 350.
Those are their, yeah. Lassie League is in the 325-ish range. And it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
A lot of sometimes. In Junior All-American, their numbers were much bigger this season because they had more teams than in previous years for football. But then since they didn't have the cheer, a lot, without the cheer, that cut their numbers. So
whatever you guys are doing, you guys are managing it wonderfully. Our kids are doing soccer and basketball, and my husband's coaching this year, so he's gonna.
And that's the thing; it's only possible if people volunteer. So it's only, even though the city runs Glendora Youth Basketball, it's not possible unless we have volunteer coaches. So thank your husband. And that could be a shameless plug. We are short 3 coaches in National and about 3 in P and 4 in American. So if anyone has any free time and loves basketball, some of the best coaches are coaches who, just coach and don't even have a kid playing. So.
True. You mentioned turf renovations, and it made me think Finkbeiner and Pompey were getting turf, but that's not what was meant, right?
No,
Okay.
The natural grass is getting overseeded, aerated, getting worked on before, because soccer and football take a beating, and they'll get nice and flush before Lassie League and American and National use the fields for baseball.
Got it. Thank you and great job. Thanks for the updates.
Anybody else?
I had a actual statement and a comment. One, thank you for, all you did in this last month and a half. It's like you packed in a full year in 6 weeks, and you and the staff did amazing jobs in all of those events. My comment or my statement to the commission is that you mentioned the Christmas parade and the committee. So I am a part of the Christmas parade committee for the first time more recently. I didn't get a chance to start when they began the process back in September, but have attended a meeting and will look to continue to try and be a part of that committee. My ask is if you guys are interested or would ever be interested, they are looking for plenty of help, as unfortunately the committee lost several members over the past several years. And so they're trying to regain some of the spots and the support and the help to put on the parade and keep it going for the community. So if there's anybody out there that would have an interest or would want to consider something like that, let me know. And we can communicate with you and that committee for next year for all of your support and help. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, one thing that Ann has not mentioned, our recreation supervisor for the teen center, Christina Warren, gave her 2 weeks notice. Her last day will be November 26th. So we will be short staffed down there. Puts Annie right back into basketball, dealing with all the coaches and all the drafts and stuff, and drags me back into being her sidekick to run those and give her support. So we will be a little short down there. Ann is on vacation next week, well deserved. Has so many hours that she cannot use all of them by the end of this year. And that, so we will be short staffed and running around a little bit in the next 3 weeks. But to get all that done, so we thank Christina. She's moving on to bigger and better things, but it will help us. We'll be a little short. We'll be throwing different employees down there to help Ann out and that and stuff. So we just wanted to let you guys know.
Thank you. Anything else before I request a motion? Okay. Can I request a motion to receive and file the report?
I'll motion.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gerber, seconded by Commissioner Chavez. I will now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Chavez?
I'm here.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Gerber?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuyumjian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Louis Porcher?
Yes.
Chair Burrell?
Yes.
Motion carries for 5-0.
Okay, now I'd like to invite Transportation Manager Stephen Matera to give us a transportation update.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. My name is Stephen Matera. I'm the Transportation Manager for the City of Glendora. We do a quarterly update, and so this is our latest iteration. Next slide, please. So I know there are a few commissioners who may not be familiar with what we offer. Our division operates the transit service within the city. So we offer dial-a-ride for seniors and persons with disabilities. We offer a commuter shuttle to the Gold Line station and as well to the Metrolink. And lastly, we have the midday shuttle, which serves the junior high and high school and connects to the village and the teen and family center. One of the key roles we do is long-range transportation planning. And we also do regional coordination and compliance. So we work very closely with the Gold Line Authority and Metro. Next slide, please. So as Annie mentioned, COVID obviously has been very difficult for us with ridership. Last year, we lost about 90% of our ridership. That makes sense when you factor in that, students weren't in school and a lot of people working from home. We've had a pretty good recovery. I think the numbers here are a little bit, probably overstate the recovery that we have, given that it was so bad. Basically going from 0 to 1 means it's a pretty big increase. So the percentages are high, but really what's happening is that the midday shuttle came back and we're carrying a little bit less than we normally do. So it's been encouraging to see the students riding the shuttle again. The fixed routes of the Gold Line shuttles are still struggling, but they are, slowly recovering. Dial-A-Ride has been pretty consistent. That was one of the few things that didn't shut down during the pandemic. And so ridership has been, roughly around what you see there month to month in the graph. Next slide, please. One of the big projects, we have several big initiatives going on, but one of the ones that's really intriguing is we are directed by the California Air Resources Board to electrify our bus fleet. And as part of this, we are developing a zero emission rollout plan, which will lay out a replacement schedule and a funding strategy for our bus charging. We're also participating in the SoCal Edison Charge Ready Transport Program, which will at no cost perform all the underground conduit work for setting up our new chargers. The chargers that you see there is what we'll be buying. Those are ChargePoint fast chargers. We've already purchased one electric bus, which is on that first slide, which will be delivered in early spring, I think. The next step really is to finish purchasing our chargers. We are expecting a grant from the AQMD for about $100,000 coming up to offset some of that cost. To just put in the infrastructure, the cost is about $250,000. So about half that will be coming from, a little bit less than half that will be coming from the grant. But we'll still have to buy a second electric bus, which is a little over $400,000. So this is a pretty substantial investment from the city, but one that's worth it. And I think once these new buses get here, they're very impressive. I think they're a big upgrade over what we currently have. Next slide, please. So the really big ticket item that we have, which I believe two of the commissioners, you guys are familiar with these, is what we're calling now the Glendora People Movement Project. This is a combination of our urban trails and first last mile. These were bundled together to help us be more competitive for grant programs and to leverage relationships with other cities, excuse me. So what this means, it's about 10 miles of improvements. And the aim here is to make walking and bicycling safe and attractive for all users and all abilities. We have $20 million here. Since this slide, we actually upped it to a little over $21 million. And the reason why is we're planning for a new pedestrian plaza right between the post office and the new train station. So we'll get into kind of what these elements look like going forward. Next slide, please. So this is an overview of the improvements. I apologize, it's probably very hard to read, and I'd be happy to share this with the commission so you can read the map. The green lines, those are the urban trail projects. So that is the San Dimas, Big Dalton, and Little Dalton washes. The purple lines are our first last mile projects. So that's on Foothill Boulevard and Glendora Avenue. So really this is a build out of a coherent active transportation network in the city so that anyone can get north, south, and east, west through the city. Next slide, please. So the urban trails, for those who may not be familiar with, we have phase 1 completed, which goes from Louis Pompey Park to Sunflower Avenue in Gladstone. These are called Class 1 or separated bicycle and pedestrian paths. The plan is to finish the San Dimas Wash to Grand and Arrow, complete work on the Big Dalton and Little Dalton washes we've shown above. And the idea here is that these are primarily for recreational trips, and they're really great for kids, families, people that don't really want to ride in traffic to get around and access parks. Next slide, please. So first last mile is the other major component, and the focus here is how do we get someone from their house to the train station or from the train station to their final destination in a way that is easy, safe, and intuitive. And so that's really what this concept of is your first and your last mile of your trip. Next slide, please. So the long-term goals here also dovetail a lot with our economic development strategy as well as our desire for road safety improvements. We know Glendora is largely pretty safe when it comes to road safety compared to other cities. However, we are expected to see a lot more pedestrian and bicycle activity with the Gold Line coming in. So really, this is looking ahead and trying to get ahead of a potential problem. Next slide, please. So the scope of these projects, I apologize, there's some technical jargon here, but what essentially this is, it's a build out of protected bicycle lanes on both Foothill and Glendora Avenue, safer crossings, a roundabout, which I think will be very interesting. That's right on Ada and Glendora Avenue. The one improvement that I think will really set Glendora up to be a leader is our protected intersection. We would be one of the first cities in LA County to have this. And what that is it keeps the bicyclists and the pedestrians basically in their own turn movement. And I'll show you what that looks like in a couple slides. Lastly, we're working closely with Foothill Transit and Citrus College on bus stop improvements, particularly at the north end of the campus. Next slide, please. So here are the renderings. So this is Ada and Glendora as it is today. Next slide, please. And this is the proposed roundabout. And what you see here is traffic calming, crossing improvements. The roundabout helps. What we've noticed here at this intersection is that it's probably too busy for a stop sign and not busy enough for a traffic light. So the roundabout is that nice, happy medium to facilitate traffic through here, as well as provide a lot of safety for pedestrians that are crossing. I mean, even today without the Gold Line, this is a high pedestrian area given the post office. You also notice too, we want to incorporate a lot of stormwater capture, dovetailing with the Public Works Department, which is working on what they call Green Streets project. Next slide, please. So this is further up Glendora Avenue looking southbound. Next slide. And this illustrates a lot of the economic development potential that comes with these projects. Really is expanding the feel of the village further south on Glendora Avenue. You'll notice there the bicyclists, that's on a raised protected bike lane. Again, we would be one of the first cities in LA County to have this. The benefit of this arrangement too is that we get to maintain the angled parking throughout Glendora Avenue. So there will be no loss in parking. The only reduction will be losing the second northbound lane, which based on traffic studies really should not have a significant impact on this area. But the goal here is to have as safe as possible street. Next slide, please. This is looking at Carroll and Glendora Avenue. Next slide, please. And this is with curb extensions and crossing improvements. And what we've heard routinely from the community is that this crossing is very unsafe. I consider myself pretty able-bodied. I still struggle to get across the street when I'm trying to cross here. So really we want to focus here on narrowing the crossing distance, making it safer for people who maybe have limited mobility, pushing a stroller, are able to get across safely as possible. And this is also an area where we know there have been past traffic issues and collisions here. Next slide, please. This is at Foothill and Glendora. Next slide. And this is what we're calling, this was called a protected or a Dutch intersection. And the logic here is that bicyclists stay with the turning movement or they stay with the traffic flow as opposed to having to divert across traffic lanes to make a left turn. So this allows bicyclists to proceed with the traffic. It provides a greater field of vision for the drivers that are turning right. This also shortens the crossing distance for pedestrians. And this really addresses a lot of comfort issues that we've heard at this intersection of people attempting to cross, drivers not seeing them, or drivers, taking the turn too quickly. So really the idea here is to provide some traffic calming and improve safety. Next slide, please. This is at Foothill and Grand. Next slide. And this here is what the flyover that the Gold Line Authority is currently building right now. And below that, what you'll see is our buffered bike lane and some of the crossing improvements. And you'll note here again, Foothill does go down to one lane in each direction. And the reason why is that Foothill, for most of its length, is actually one lane in each direction. It's only in the stretch after Glendora that you have this irregular lane pattern. We have noticed that does cause quite a bit of weaving issues and potential for collision. So having a consistent feel through the entire length of the corridor would provide a high degree of safety and predictability as one moves through here. Next slide, please. This is looking towards Vista Bonita. Next slide. And again, this is showing here that street parking is maintained. There is a center turn lane and the buffered bicycle lane. And again, it illustrates some of the potential economic development that can occur through this corridor. Next slide, please. So in terms of outreach, I know this probably seems like a lot and new for some. However, this has really been going on for really the past 10 years, particularly with urban trails. The first last mile planning has been going on for about the past 3 years. This has also been adopted by the council as our priority for our long-range transportation projects. We did do 2 demonstration projects. I believe most recently was the 5-month demonstration on Glendora Avenue. That was a great way to engage with residents. We heard about 573 responses to our survey. And then council formally approved our bundling of this project as a people movement. Next slide, please. So in terms of the budget, this here shows the budget that was without the pedestrian plaza. So we're looking at just under $20 million. We are recommended to receive 6.6 million from the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. That's the good news. The bad news is that we did lose our earmark, which was in the original infrastructure bill, but did not make it in the final version. So we're looking for an additional funding, that additional funding gap. However, with the grant from the COG, we're still able to deliver the San Dimas Wash, Little Dalton, and portions of the first last mile projects that you saw. Next slide, please. So in terms of our next steps, we're working to complete our environmental and design for all phases of the project. We will be looking to start construction soonest on the San Dimas Wash, which is furthest along. It's actually near final design. Glendora Avenue, Foothill Boulevard are at what are called 10% plans, and Little Dalton Wash is at the conceptual stage. So really, we're at a pretty early stage on some of the major projects here. Next slide, please. In terms of our next steps, we're working our way through the SGV COG, that's the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments approval process. That will culminate in the LA County Metro Board approval of the grant in May of 2022. We'll be looking to seek additional funding from state and local partners. One of the great things that the COG has offered to take over implementing this project, as you can see, the scope of this project is probably well beyond what the city can deliver feasibly. So they'll be the project manager, and we'll be working with them to deliver these improvements. Next slide, please. One really exciting thing that we were able to accomplish this year was the installation of our parklets. We completed 7 within the last week of August. And today I can say that we successfully delivered the umbrellas, which are out now. And so these parklets are fully ready to be used. It's been a great partnership with our restaurants and the BID and the Chamber of Commerce to help keep our restaurants open and thriving during the year. In terms of next steps, we're going to the bid board next month to discuss some of the right-of-way issues and kind of operational issues that have come up. And so looking to clarify some of the roles and responsibilities as it relates to parklet operation. Next slide, please. In terms of the Gold Line update, the Gold Line Authority continues to make excellent progress in the project. This is a picture of Lone Hill Avenue where they raised steel cage for the support beam for the Lone Hill Bridge. This was quite an undertaking because that drill actually went down about 80 feet into the ground, and they lowered these steel cages essentially in there and then pouring concrete. They were able to complete that. So I think Lone Hill was reopened, does not need additional closure. Route 66 will be closing next week for 10 days, and that is to allow for similar work on the new Gold Line Bridge over Lone Hill Avenue. Vermont and Elwood are reopened, and the Gold Line Authority is still expecting an opening in 2025 and 2026. There might be a later date if they're able to secure funding for construction to Montclair, which would push it out towards 2026 for project completion. Next slide, please. And with that, I can take any questions the commission has.
I'll jump in since I'm sure several of you guys have a lot of information just thrown upon you. Stephen, I always look forward to your reports because it definitely sheds a lot of light on what's going on around the city that we see. It's a lot of information that I don't think a lot of people care to understand or want to even have, but yet it affects them at every minute of every day when they're driving around to and from schools, to and from the parks for their kids, just to the grocery store. They get upset when they make the right turn and all of a sudden they hit the roadblock that the street has been blocked and they forgot about it. So the more information we can put out there, the better. And I appreciate as detailed as you get in regards to the report. My one question to you is the time frame for the city portions the same as the Gold Line 2025? So to make these the roundabout, all of these different changes, is that the timeline that we're looking at, or is that something that is kind of separate based on the funding that we are able to get?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. The goal is to have most of these improvements open by the opening of the Gold Line, particularly first last mile. We can expect the San Dimas Wash to open sooner, just given that it's further along in the design process. So our schedule right now would have us opening the first last mile projects with the Gold Line opening. But again, if we hit funding snags or other issues, that could push that out further.
Okay. I think somebody who's been in the city for a while, once the Gold Line kind of completes, the city's going to be transformed. What about the improved or increased retail going south on Glendora Avenue towards, is there, I don't think that's within your guys' scope more as it is part of the city council. Is that correct in terms of, we have the police station there, well, that's not going anywhere, and the library, that's not going anywhere. And then we have some retails, we have some churches. Is there plans for that to be changed, or are we just going to keep those and kind of improve upon them?
No, that's another great question. I know our planning division is looking into potentially station area plans that would activate the land use side. As you point out, we don't control the land that's on the private property, so that's really up to the owners on what they do with the property. We want to just make sure that the infrastructure is in place if there are future developments that come in, and that we're ready. And so that's why we're focusing on the infrastructure first rather than playing catch up later.
Okay, makes sense. I hope it comes to fruition because it looks great, and it would definitely make our city very attractive and bring it, further along than many others when it comes to just ease and use. So thank you for the report. Excellent information.
Thank you.
I agree with David. Stephen, this was incredible. I could have had popcorn and just watched all night long. There's so many great improvements. And I wanted to ask about two major intersections, pedestrian wise, for our younger Glendorans, which is Live Oak and Sierra Madre. That's heading up to what we call Peacock Lane. My family calls Peacock Lane. And just this past couple of weeks, the crossing guard was not there. And I almost witnessed 4 accidents happening without her presence. And it is a moderate traffic area for families that are walking down to Cullen and kids that are walking up to Goddard. So if there's any opportunity to bring that up, that could be a nice roundabout opportunity there. And similarly, Sierra Madre and Lorraine, where Sellers meets Goddard. So those two main feeder spots, as our youngers are pulling up into that that age group, this 2025, 2026 timeframe would be appropriate if it was possible for that. And then my last thing, which I don't think has anything to do with transportation, but since we're talking about renovations and rejuvenation of our landing space, Cullen has this chunk of road that wiggles this way, and Mal and I have it on our Christmas list that we can get some kind of grass or turf or more concrete drop.
I want more concrete,
so that we don't have to fall over with strollers or anything like that. So it's a very big safety hazard. That's what I'm trying to impress upon in this situation. But yeah, that's my last comment. So great job. This is exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll just note, I think next week our public works staff are kicking off what's called local road safety plan. That focuses on safe routes to school. So that'll be it's a good timing. I have a 5-year-old who goes to Cullen. We bike, as much as we can to school. You've
I
probably
thought I saw you.
probably seen me on. I have a new electric
I was
bike.
gonna say hi, and then
Seen
I
me
was
with my
sorry.
kid. I've been yelled at for parking my bike in the wrong spot. So, we want to make sure that, all abilities feel safe. That's really a focus. There's a concept called 8 to 80 cities. So a city that's safe for an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old. And that's kind of the guiding principle that we have with our improvements. So your point's well taken. And, yes, we will be looking at that.
I don't want anyone else. I don't want to take anyone's spot. Eddie.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Stephen. That was great. Thank you for the information. Just a couple little things, questions. What was the feedback from the community in regards to the trial period, the 5-month trial period?
That's an excellent question. It was pretty split. I would say it was about 50% liked it or were ambivalent about it, and the other 50% didn't like it. Digging into what people didn't like, most of it was focused on the fact that it looked very temporary, and that the materials we used were, obviously we're not meant to be up for 5 months, and that was a lesson we learned, is that if we're going to do this, we have to do it right. So I think there are some people, and I can understand it, don't want a bike lane anywhere, and that's perfectly a fine opinion. We want to work on making sure that it's additive to the city, and that'll be our focus, is on the aesthetics of that. So I think if we can get that right. There was concerns over parking. I noted that we don't, in the final plans, we don't reduce parking at all on Glendora Avenue, and that we'll be evaluating some of the turn radii. When we were on the demo, I was out there fixing tape and the delineator posts that would get knocked over because cars would clip it. So, we learned that just because we have a really tight turn doesn't mean that's necessarily the right fit. So we'll be looking at those design issues when we get into, a higher degree of engineering on these plans.
Yeah, that's a great idea, just to put it out there, because I was in downtown LA. I was part of the downtown LA bid board, and the concept was, floated about 10 years ago or so, but I don't think they implemented it or had a trial period like that. So that's excellent. Anyway, you could do some of that on Sierra Madre with some of the expand the bike lanes on Sierra Madre. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, we definitely want to do another demo. We were thinking something, near Juanita, because that's the San Dimas Wash will be the first, construction project we get into. So, we definitely have opportunities to do more demonstration projects, throughout the city.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
Great. And then bus-wise, converting them to electricity or purchasing or converting the fleet. What is the goal, and what's the total, what's the fleet number now, and what's the goal in totality?
Sure. So we have 10 vehicles total. 6 of those are vans and are not subject to the electrification requirements. Okay. So we have 4, 2 are due to be replaced, which is actually lined up pretty well with the requirement of Edison. The other 2 are set to be replaced in 2025. So we'll have a little bit of time to hopefully find some offsetting funds. They are not cheap. And so that's something where, as a small city, we have limited access to capital funds. And so we're trying to be as proactive as we can on those.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for the report. And I look forward to the next one. Thanks.
Well, the transportation presentations are always my favorite. I get so excited with all of it. I love electric cars and bikes and walking. And I think I'm so excited for the Urban Trails project to be merged with the first last mile one, because the Urban Trails, speaking for myself, will make my kids getting to and from Cullen and Goddard so much safer. I think today or this week we had a really foggy morning, and I'm pushing a stroller. We almost got hit twice, and it's only like a quarter of a mile from my house to school. So it's like, just knowing that like the focus of your guys' department is on making the streets safer makes me so happy. And there's always going to be people complaining that they can't speed 55 on a 2-lane road down Foothill, but sorry, my kid is more important than you getting there 20 seconds early. So I appreciate so much just hearing over and over again how big the focus is on making the streets safer. And I think the protected bike lanes and stuff are going to be, I've noticed just now that like APU and Citrus is back even partway, I think how many of the like Bird or Lyft, the little scooters, the little electric scooters, and those follow wherever, you know, the light rail trains go. And so I think having those protected also sets us up really well for not having them create a lot of problems that you've seen in other cities where people are sort of taking these scooters on the streets or on the sidewalk and getting into issues there. So I think it's just so great that you guys are all this prepared and ready to go. The roundabout, I think, is beautiful. I remember reading some of the comments. People were like, "Oh, that doesn't allow me to roll the stop sign," I think is really what people don't like about it. But I think it creates such a beautiful like bookend to the like improved transit light rail village area, and just really kind of puts a like almost like a little welcome sign, and all of these aesthetic improvements are not just better for getting people around our town, but actually kind of like you know, curb appeal stuff that makes it a nice place to live, and a place that people want to come to dinner on a Friday night, and a place where, you know, it helps everyone's property values. So I just think it's just all so great, and I'm so excited. And I don't even think I have any questions. I'm just very excited because I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to receive and file the report unless there's any other questions? I think we heard from everyone.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Kuyumjian and seconded by Vice Chair Louis Porcher. I will now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Chavez?
I'm here.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerber?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuyumjian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Louis Porcher?
Yes.
Chair Burrell?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to invite each staff member to also to make any closing comments. Commissioner Chavez, closing comments?
I forgot to mention that I was at the La Petra. I'm sorry, guys. And I had a great time. You know, it felt really good to be there with everybody and help out. And, you know, it's all new to me, but I think new for a lot of people, even some of the people that showed up for the first time. But it was great. And so getting to know the city a little more and how everyone's involved. Debbie does a great job. You know, she really puts her time in, effort. You know, so I think it's a lot of good things happening, and we should get more of our elderly involved, you know. But yeah, I did want to mention that was great. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerber?
No, just want to wish everybody a very happy holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you and your families. Be well, stay safe. Look forward to seeing all of you, or those that are able to, tomorrow at the Christmas stroll, and then going through and on our next meeting, doing the Christmas lights, the judging. That's always a lot of fun. You get a chance to see the city unlike any other time of the year. And then lastly, as part of the Community Services Department and Commission, we do have the Community Service Foundation, of which I am on the board, as is Commissioner Chavez. I invite Brittany, Mallory, and Eddie, you guys, if you are interested in becoming a part of that foundation, we definitely could use the help and the support. Or if you know of any other people, our goal is to be that extension to raise funds for the community service department to help facilitate programs and other things that they may not have money for in terms of projects throughout the city. In addition, we're looking to try and support local families during the holiday season. We're donating some portions of our fundraising money for the holidays, as well as looking for other opportunities, one of which I'm trying to look to create a scholarship, an annual scholarship that would be available for students that have either been a part of currently in the past or currently working in the community service department, whether it be at the teen center up at Camp Kahila. I think we have a number of youths that provide a lot of help and service that go again unrecognized, and the more we can recognize and bring awareness to what truly happens behind the scenes in the city, the better we'll be. So again, if you guys are interested in that, shameless plug, please let me know. But that's it, and great job tonight, guys.
Thank you. Commissioner Kunjian.
Yes, thank you. Yes, David, actually, let's connect. I'd like more information about the foundation. That would be great to learn more about it and get involved. Just want to wish everybody a great holiday, Thanksgiving holiday. It's one of my favorite times of the year, so I wish everybody the best and safe holiday season, and look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow evening, and have a great month until we meet again. Thank you.
Vice Chair Louis Porcher.
Oh, I get the joy of wrapping in all of your comments and saying, I agree with you, you, and you. I agree. I can't wait for this season. This is truly such an amazing season for the city because we do it best. I can say that for sure. We do it best, and I'm looking forward to it. I will see each of you tomorrow evening. And the Christmas parade, I've already reached out to David. I am interested in supporting that, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. And then the Community Service Foundation, yes, like Eddie, I would love to get more information about that.
Me too.
Yes. And then I did have a question. Do we ever get together as a commission for a holiday luncheon with us?
For a
If
luncheon?
not, I'd like to motion for us to consider getting together for a fun little.
But we can't sit together.
Oh, what? Well, as long as we don't. No, yes, we can.
You're okay to be in the same room. You just can't talk business, basically.
Yeah.
So nothing. Just yeah.
So that I motion for us to have a intended get together.
I think John, maybe he can tell me, what day was it that we are judging Christmas lights?
The 15th.
The
December
15th. Okay. And so and then that takes the place of our meeting
Yes.
like this, right? Okay.
Correct.
So for all of our new commissioners, we judge our Christmas lights in December, and then that takes the place of this meeting. So it's just the 15th in December, and then we are back to the grind in January, I think. Yes. Okay.
Which they'll meet at the Crowther Teen and Family Center, correct, John?
Correct.
Okay.
And then we'll take the bus, one of Stephen's buses that will drive around to all of the houses.
Are we able to bring kids this year?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Brittany,
Yes,
get the whole gang together.
yes,
You guys will be sending out an update, right? On
yes,
time?
we will. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. All right.
David Gerber put me on the list with Brittany and Eddie as well.
You
Yeah.
guys got it. I'm gonna have Megan, I was just going to chat with you if you wouldn't mind adding Eddie, Brittany, and Mallory to just send out the notification that you sent me really about our mission statement via email, and then maybe you can add them to our next meeting that they could just be as visitors to witness, and in between that time when I see them, I can share a little bit more about it with them.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, I would just also like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Is there anything, John, you'd like to add?
Yeah, just tomorrow night, we will be at the holiday stroll. We will be behind the Christmas tree with Santa. Our staff will be there. There'll be singing going on in front of the tree. But we are behind the tree with Santa starting probably 6:30, 6:45. And we, from staff, we would like to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving. For you that are all the ones that get off, enjoy your vacation and stay safe.
Thank you. And I echo that. I'm very thankful for everyone's hard work and the beautiful city and everyone's dedication and all of you, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you at Christmas time. I would like to adjourn this meeting at 8:16 p.m.